Welcome back, everyone, to Pod of Thrones. I'm Jeff.
I'm Jennifer.
What?
I just really don't like my name is 3 syllables. Can it just be like, I don't want to be Jen.
Well, right. I learned early in our friendship, before even dating, that you didn't like to be called Jen or Jenny.
Right. It's Jennifer.
You could just change your name.
I might have to change my name.
You know I'm into a lady's name, Helen.
Oh.
So.
Psh. Weirdo.
Listen, we got a lot to cover today because the Watchmen
is
finale
weird.
Fucked with my head quite a bit. I was very angry at things, but
yeah.
we'll talk about that.
Okay.
I've got some stuff that can clear some of it up. One big boner on my part. But first, I believe you have some Game of Thrones news, as this is Pod of Thrones. So I'm going to turn this over to you because I feel like that's where we should start.
Oh, good. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, do you know who Dan Richtman is?
Nope.
Okay, so I think he works for CSNBC. Is that a thing?
MSNBC?
Or is it just CNBC?
Well, CNBC and MSNBC are both things.
Okay, well, I believe he works for CNBC. Anyway,
okay.
He's like some insider who gets news.
Wow, sounds like a dick. Some insider.
So I was trying to figure out if what he was saying was like a reliable source.
Oh, okay.
Right, but you have to subscribe to his Patreon page to see what he says.
Oh.
Right?
Wait, no, that's not normal. Not for someone that's on TV.
Okay, well, this is according to him.
Okay.
He's an insider.
Okay.
He says that Game of Thrones, they have 20 more years planned of content of some sort. You know, of course, we've got the House of the Dragon.
Uh-huh.
And then they said they wanted to do the First Men.
Well, didn't we find out there's going to be an animated show too? Oh, they're still going to do the First Men?
Well, according to Dan Richtman.
Okay. This motherfucker, according to that guy.
Yes. So
I don't know if I've ever heard you treat a stranger with such contempt on this show before.
This article says, but he gives no further details.
Okay.
That's the
news. Wow. So breaking news, possibly some dude on the internet says 20 more years of Game of Thrones content planned out. Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. Oh, God.
Maybe subscribe to his Patreon page and you'll find out more.
A little bit. Yeah. But, how much is, wait, I'm going to look this guy up. I have the Patreon app. I do plenty of Patreoning, but usually for people that are worthwhile. Richtman, like Richt?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to look him up right now. Let's see if he has a big following. Is that an indicator that
you know what I should have checked is what's the blog?
I don't know. Oh my God, he has 486 patrons.
Oh my God,
that's not nothing. There's a lot bigger out there, but at a minimum of $2 per month, that dude's making a little. That's a nice little side hustle.
90,000 followers.
On Twitter?
On Twitter, yeah.
Okay. That's all right.
Anyway, there's no new news.
Well, that was kind of news, but we don't know if it's real. It could just be some dude making shit up.
I know. So I'm going, you know what? I will just double research to see if I can find that anywhere else that they're planning on.
See if you can vet this.
20 more years of content.
That's a hell of a commitment.
Well, not really. 2011.
Well,
it's been 10 years since Game of Thrones first started.
Right. Okay. Well, so Walking Dead's done this too. Like they're ending the show with I think we're on season 10 right now, which is getting extended. And then they're going to do season 11 and then maybe some spin-off movies, but there's also Fear the Walking Dead. And then this other one that no one's watched. So, and I remember a few years ago, they said, like, we have this vast plan for The Walking Dead and we're going to continue it forever. And, you know, even though the ratings were dropping by millions and millions of people over the years, it was still their highest rated show on AMC and still one of the highest rated shows on TV, yada, yada, yada. So I remember all that, but then
you got to get the gore. It's like you get addicted to the gore, and you got to get it.
the makeup effects are great. But the last couple seasons have also been really good. Like they've taken a big upswing.
Right, the story is pretty good.
If you didn't stick it out through the Negan years, people, you missed out because the recent stuff is worth watching.
I don't know. It's
what?
It's a long run.
Yeah, but it's only 16 episodes a year. I mean, remember when we binged like 8 seasons on Netflix right after we finally started watching? That didn't take very long.
No, I know. It's just zombies.
But so Game of Thrones, okay. I mean, I would love for the show to keep going. Can you imagine? We'll be potting until we're, at like retirement age.
Yeah.
What fun.
I mean, it depends on who writes it, how good it's going to be.
Sure.
Dan Rickman didn't give us any more information. So
the big problem I have with a story like this is that and I know we said this even within the last couple of weeks. Why didn't HBO figure this out 2 more years ago? Or 2 more years earlier.
I think they did. I don't know who's holding their tongue, but somebody's got to have a plan.
Well, it's just they should have had the next series.
Maybe there's legal ties to what,
Maybe George R.R. Martin. Maybe he slowed it down. Gurm.
Right. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe they're waiting for him to come out with his book. Who knows?
That's never going to happen.
I know. I just. I feel like there's got to be some reason why they're not doing it right now.
I don't
Are
know.
they trying to build us up?
I don't know. Usually in the entertainment world, it seems like the smart business move from all the smart business people is to keep building on your momentum. And by letting Game of Thrones end and on kind of a weak note, without having the next show ready to go for the next season, it just seems to me like that was really badly planned. And I don't know if they'll be able to get their viewers back. We will be there, of course.
They'll be able to get them back because everybody's going to be curious. And if it's good, then they'll keep watching. Don't you think?
I hope so.
I would watch at least one episode if I had vowed to never watch Game of Thrones again. I would be like, well, it's not Game of Thrones.
We got to give it a chance. I mean, look, I agree. I don't know what the rest of the world feels. I would love to hear opinions. If any of you out there, I mean, you're still subscribed to Pod of Thrones if you're listening to this. So hopefully you're going to come with us on the next, you're with us waiting for that next Game of Thrones fix. That's what I'm hoping is happening.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to do it together when it happens. All of us.
I'm sorry if, do you have any more headlines?
No.
So you didn't see then the one about Rose Leslie and what's his name?
Did they break up?
No, they had a baby.
Oh.
Why can't I remember his name now? Jon Snow's actor is whatever. Jon Snow and Ygritte. They had a baby in real life.
Oh my God, I can't believe we can't remember this. Does it start with a K? Is it Karen?
Is Jon Snow's name Karen?
I was just joking.
Okay. I know I'm going to feel really... Kit Harington.
Yes, it does start with a K.
You were right there. Look, but this is what I'm talking about. They've been out of our lives for like 2 years now.
During Christmas, we did a stupid Christmas party over Zoom, and somebody asked me, since you're the Pot of Thrones expert, who killed, I don't know, whatever he said.
Did you get it right?
No, I couldn't remember. It's like, oh my God, the Hound? And it was something, I think the Mountain was the right answer, but I couldn't even wrap my head around what he was talking about. It's been so long.
Yep, it really has.
And we watched that how many times over?
The whole show?
The whole show, except for season 8.
Right. Well, it kind of varies from season to season. I think seasons 1 through 5, we probably watched them 3 times. And then 6 and 7, I think we only watched twice. But still,
I
it's
almost want to watch it
again.
I get the urge sometimes.
We ready to share it with the kids yet?
No.
No.
They would never.
Some
They'd
family
be like,
dinner
that's
time viewing.
stupid. I'm not going to watch that.
The boys would really be propelled rapidly into puberty.
Yeah.
Just
oh
a
my
couple
gosh.
episodes into that show.
My son has super hairy legs now.
Hairier than mine?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It was weird. He
That's kinda
pulled up
crazy.
his pant leg today. I was like, oh my God, you have man hair.
He's going to have to start shaving soon.
I know. Oh.
Or he'll be that funny 13-year-old with like
Weird
a
whiskers.
little partial mustache. Little patchy shit. That's always nice. I don't think I ever went through that phase. I don't think I had patchy. I mean, I kind of do now because I'm lazy, but yeah,
Okay.
just a little bit.
Sorry.
Anyway,
Side.
the point being they had a baby. Congratulations, because I'm sure you're listening. Kit Harrington, sorry I forgot your name, and Rose Leslie.
Congratulations. I hope that you're sober and doing well.
Yes, ma'am.
Because that baby needs you, motherfucker. Just saying.
Okay, so Watchmen. Some mistakes were made. It's my fault, really.
Our mistakes? We made mistakes?
Yes.
What? Okay.
So the last episode, episode 8, was the one that I was very angry at because of all the time looping shit and paradoxes. And then I was very angry watching episode 9 because I was like, this shit doesn't make sense. I took the time to try to figure out this fucking timeline.
Oh, and you
now,
messed it up.
And now episode 9 is broken. Badly broken.
It wasn't we. It was you.
Well, you could have corrected me. I said mostly me.
I am like, you kidding me? Trying to figure this out? Go. You tell me what you messed up on.
All right, so I'm just going to give a quick rundown. It's only like 10 entries here on a list of the timeline of this show. Okay. Angela Abar, born in 1975. Okay.
Yes.
The Watchmen comic book leading to the giant squid took place in 1985. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what's interesting there, so we had the one point where Dr. Manhattan was like, I'm not on Mars, I do other things. That's just a recording of me. Remember all that? And then he went on to talk about how he created life on Europa. So he was saying, God, I remember talking about this in the last episode. He was talking to Angela in the bar, and he was saying how he's also creating life on Europa right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I had interpreted that, and you didn't stop me, as being he can make multiple copies of himself, because we've seen that happen.
Well, I think we talked about that.
Yeah, we did talk about
Okay.
that. But even though the whole episode was predicated on his unique vision of time and how he can, he'll be experiencing one thing in one timeline while he's actually in another place at another time.
A different time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Somehow that part escaped me, that he was not actually in two places with a copy of himself making shit on Europa while talking to Angela. That's where I really fucked up.
Okay.
So according to the
It's all right.
timeline I found, he was creating life on Europa in late 1985, seemingly after the events of the comic book, but not far after. You with me?
Well, but that means that 1985.
It's a big year for Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah. Was he did the Vietnam that year?
No, because Vietnam was in the 70s, right? So that still happened on his normal timeline. But Nixon was still president in the comic books, right? So something happened. I can't remember off the top of my head, like how. What is it about recording this podcast where the dog decides she's going to go stay on my pillow? Hey, Sophie, Dog of Thrones, not on my pillow.
Come here.
I don't want your little dog farts on my pillow. There, that's good. Stay there. Here, wait. Give her that sweatshirt of yours.
Okay.
She'll lay on that. That's what's wrong. She doesn't have any clothes that smell like us to lay on. There we go. Okay. I don't know. So I think Nixon got to be president for longer than normal because of the big victories in Vietnam. There was probably some special dispensation for that, yada, yada. Because that happened in World War II, right? I mean, whoever was FDR or something, wasn't he president for
I don't know
3 terms? Okay. Well, anyway, the point is, Watchmen comic was 1985, so was Creating Life on Europa. Okay?
Got it.
All right. 1987 was when Angela's parents were killed with the suicide bomber.
Okay.
So she was 12.
Okay.
I thought she looked younger than that in the show, but I'll go with it. And then fast forwarding a bunch, Angela, when she's in the bar and Dr. Manhattan comes to visit her and they have a talk, that was 2009. June 2009. So he created Life on Europa, 15 years? No, 24 years before the scene. 24 years before the scene in the bar.
Okay.
Yep. And that's where I was completely confused. Somehow I missed the fact that he was just relaying one of his weird time memory shits.
So,
when he was talking about Europa.
That means that, does that mean that what's his name has been trapped there for 24 years?
No.
Ugh.
So 2009 was the scene in the bar, and then they start dating, and it was that at that 6-month fight when he goes to visit Adrian Veidt at his little base. And
later.
Then sends him to Europa. So Veidt got sent to Europa in 2009.
Okay.
And that's also in December 2009. Veidt goes to Europe. Dr. Manhattan goes to meet Will in New York City and tell him about Judd.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ring thing happens, and we have Calvin, who has amnesia. That all happens in December 2009. And then to wrap all this up, 2014, so 5 years later, was when Veidt writes a message with bodies on Europa and then gets arrested.
Okay.
2016 was the White Knight, and the show takes place, basically the whole like present day part of the show was September 2019. So it was 10 years later, more like 10 and a half years later, 10 and a quarter after they started dating.
Okay.
After that scene in the bar. So that is all okay, I think, except maybe for the amount of time it takes to get to Europa. I do still have some, but we'll talk about that during this episode.
It takes no time.
It does for a space probe.
Not when you're, yeah. Well.
So there's that. Okay. So I just wanted to clear that up. In case anyone was angry for us getting that part wrong, or if you were as confused as we were. Because I was very confused, so I had to do some research on that.
Thank you.
Whew. All right. Now, 20 minutes in. You want to dive into this episode?
Aye. Put a disclaimer at the front. Say just fast forward 20 minutes if you don't want to hear a lot of...
No, people are going to want the Game of Thrones. People want to know about 20 years. 20 minutes for 20 years news. That's what you owe us.
Okay.
All right. Okay, let's go into the episode. Watchmen, Season 1, Episode 9, See How They Fly. Okay. We start with Ozymandias, King of Kings, Adrian Veidt, filming his message to President Redford, which, as it turns out, was at the very end of 1985, shortly after the whole octopus thing, or the squid thing. He filmed this thing. He's surrounded by Asian workers. I was writing, does this mean something? I don't know. But I guess they were Vietnamese refugees, something. He just brought all these people in to work at his place. Fine. And we see a lady who we weren't exactly sure who she was, but it was like, is that lady True or is that Beyond? Who's that supposed to be? And it turns out it was the original Beyond. So yeah. But it's 1985. She goes into Ozzy's office, takes sample 2346, which is just cum.
Yeah, for some reason.
Yeah, you had questions about that.
Right.
Do you want to talk about that later when he does, or should we talk about it now? Like his whole celibacy
thing. Let's talk about
it
later.
Okay. So she takes some jizz and then takes another little bottle full of hand lotion.
Squirts it back
and puts that back in the freezer. And then We watched that a couple times just to figure out how she was doing the switcheroo. And on that second viewing, I noticed that it looked like, and if you go and if you have HBO Max or whatever, you go back to that scene and watch Lady True or Beyond take the jizz, because there's like a spill of jizz on one of her fingers as she's playing with the vials. She's got some jizz on her. And then she puts what's left in the vial into some kind of hypo gun. I don't know. It looks like a needle, but when she spreads her legs.
Right. And acts like it feels pleasurable because it doesn't.
Well, it's nice and cool. It just came out of the freezer. Maybe that feels good.
Maybe
it's hot.
I don't think so.
And she shoots herself right in the pussy while saying, "Fuck you, Ozymandias." So.
Yes.
That,
while
that
looking
happened.
at the picture.
Which was not a picture of him, like we thought it might have been a painting of Ozzy, but it was actually Alexander the Great, I think. We find out later. Yeah. I mean, that's one way to do it. You could have put the vial in your pants and done it later in your own
No, it had to be
bed.
immediate.
Oh, yeah, you don't want the jizz to go bad.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. She took care of business. Okay, so we fast forward to 2008. We get that text across the screen. So this is now 1 year before Veidt leaves for Europa, before the meeting in the bar, because that was 2009. So 2008, Lady True, a young Lady True, shows up at Ozymandias' base. He doesn't want to talk to her, but she knows all of his secrets. She says she's a big fan of his squid thing. She figured it all out. She introduces herself as being the smartest woman in the world, just like he's the smartest man in the world. She wanted to thank him for saving the world. So she kisses his ass a little bit, enough to get invited in. We learn that Veidt is very upset that President Redford has never been in touch about the whole message about how I saved the world, all that. So he's pretty offended. A Squid Storm happens. They talk about that system. It's automated. It chooses random locations. Cool. But she says the squid falls are not that impressive. The first part with the big squid, that was cool. But this is reruns. It's just more squids. So she said, what if I could make every nuclear weapon on the planet disappear? And she's talking about Dr. Manhattan's powers. She found him. He's on Europa, not on Mars. And she has launched a probe. So in 5 years, so we're in 2008 right now. 5 years later, she will be taking pictures of Europa and proving that Dr. Manhattan is out there. She wants his location so that she can destroy him and take his power. And with that, she'll save the world. She can get rid of nukes, clean the air, and starvation. And I gotta say,
sounds pretty good.
Kind of a good point. All right, why doesn't he do more to save the world? Does he really not care? Because then he has the capacity to fall in love. We thought he was just an inhuman weirdo.
There is no love there.
He says he loves Angela.
He's lying. He's just thinking in his head, I'm supposed to love you someday.
If he at least kind of likes Angela, shouldn't he want the world she's in to be safe? Like, he could do so much. If I had his powers, I would totally do that.
Fix it all.
No more nuclear
fix
weapons.
Everything.
Right. Wouldn't you?
I don't know. Maybe there's a reason why not.
Let's get rid of everything that's a missile. If you want to go to war, you got to go back to swords and pistols. That's all that's around. I'll give you those. Only because maybe you need to go to war.
But he would have to wipe our brains of all of our knowledge of how to make all that shit.
Okay. He could do that. He's Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
And cleaning pollution? Oh, God. Getting rid of that Great Pacific garbage patch that's swirling around out there. He could just boom and it's gone. Getting rid of all the mercury in the water that's making fish
maybe he did
change their genders.
We don't know.
Well,
he didn't get rid of the squid fall though.
Well, but he wound up finding out what that was all about. If he didn't know already, I'm not really clear on his omniscience, but
right.
But he could do all these things. So it is kind of a dick move on his part, I think, that he is still letting people starve to death, Anyway, so Lady True was hoping that Ozymandias would stake her $42 billion so she could work on her Let's Take Dr. Manhattan's Powers project. And he says, why would I do that? And she says, because she's his daughter. And he says, no way, I'm a virgin. Not something you hear 50-plus-year-old men declare proudly, but okay.
Yeah.
So, talk about this.
Okay.
This bothered you.
Well, I mean, okay, so virgin, first of all.
Uh-huh. I think that just means he has never known the touch of a lady.
Well, I know what that means. But that means he feels he's too good to sully himself with sex. But also, there's a thing where sex makes men not as, like, on top of their game, like smart and...
Is that true? Or is that...
They say it is. I don't know if it's true.
You talk about the thing where, like, boxers won't come before a fight? Like that kind of thing? Because I think that's a myth.
I don't know. I'm just saying okay,
keep going,
whatever. And then he
Yes.
ejaculating into these vials every day?
Well, I mean,
they got numbers.
He's in at least his 50s at the point of we're seeing this.
So what number was that? 3492 or something?
Yeah, I mean, he was in the 4 digits, but I mean.
So why? If he doesn't want children, because he said he doesn't, why is he saving it? Is it for research purposes? Maybe he's trying to figure out how close to dying he is, because if he examines it underneath, or how virile he is, if he examines it underneath a
But you wouldn't have to keep it then.
No, you got to look at it. Well, that's true. You just throw it away.
I mean, so for one thing, if he has no interest in intercourse.
He wants to populate the world with himself.
Maybe. So if he has no interest in intercourse, fine. He can be asexual, but still be capable of coming, certainly. I mean, there are people that are asexual who are in relationships and will have sex because it makes their partner happy, even though they don't really get much out of it. They can still do it, you know? They just don't enjoy it the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So he's jerking himself off, clearly. I mean, I don't think he's milking himself like a cow.
Maybe he's got a tool that extracts it.
Maybe. So yeah, so then the question of why. My guess is something like, populating the earth kind of thing. But when I say that, the first place my head goes is Jeffrey Epstein.
Why?
Remember him?
Yes.
That was one of his things. He thought he considered himself to be some kind of superior being.
Oh, so him coming in all of those little teenage girls was a good thing because he was repopulating.
Well, no, there was more to it than that. He actually had some kind of facility set up. I think it was to harvest his sperm and to save it so that he could populate the earth with his seed. I don't know what happened there. I mean, luckily he's dead now, and I think they took his sperm away. But that somewhere he had a plan that was like, save my sperm, and then there's that cloud with a question mark in it, and then populate the earth with my seed. Like, he had a plan somewhere in there, right, because he thought he was like the Ubermensch.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he was. There's no indications that he was actually a financial genius. He was just a predator that blackmailed people so that he could become a billionaire.
Well, I think he was smart and then figured out quickly that he could.
Yeah, I don't know. He was smart at being a predator, I guess.
Well, yeah, and fooling people, because that's how he became rich.
But he's not like Ozymandias, right? He's not actually the smartest man on earth. No, he's just a creep that found ways to be the most successful creep of all time. As far as we know.
Yes.
Possibly, yeah. So at least with Ozymandias, if he had some kind of plan, maybe posthumously, to give his sperm out to, maybe he was going to raffle it like a Willy Wonka kind of thing. And, it'd be...
maybe that's what's in the squid.
And he was a dude that was smart enough to start at nothing and then make billions of dollars, right?
Right.
So would it, I guess, here's my question. And you can tell me this as a mom who has made some babies. If someone that didn't want to fuck you came to you and said, here is some sperm, you can put this in you and have your own super genius billionaire baby. Would that be weird, or would it be an honor, or would it be some of each?
There's more to a person than their intelligence. Do you want them
he can catch bullets in midair. Like, he is.
Yeah, but he also rapes teenagers.
Who? Wait, no, you're back to no. Jeffrey Epstein couldn't catch bullets in midair. No. You're mixing those two up now. I'm sorry, that's my fault. Ozymandias, not a sexual predator.
We don't know.
Well, he's a virgin.
But that doesn't mean he didn't, the whole Clinton thing.
I'm just saying. Yeah, Clinton, also a genius in his own special way. Anyway, so what would be going through? There's more to a person than just their intelligence. Fine.
Right, you got to find out if they're, so say they are in the supermensch guy, ubermensch, and they're actually good, but not, they're not evil.
It's all how you raise them, right? Or is it? I don't know. But go on.
No, sometimes people are actually evil. Born evil.
Right.
And I had proof. Why wouldn't I?
Well, he's famous. He's the smartest man on earth. Like, who he is because he walked up to your house. Like, you've seen him.
He's kind of a jerk.
He is an arrogant bastard.
That I don't want to recreate. What's the point?
Well, I mean, I think... that opens up a whole nature versus nurture thing. It's a very complicated argument.
Yeah, but I can see how the point could be made that you're actually making a smarter society.
Well, and even though he's a dick, he did legitimately save the Earth. Like, I don't think that's really up for argument even. Like, that squid came down and the nuclear war that was, like, on the verge of happening stopped happening. And hasn't come back, even though the missiles are still there. It's like he did it, and he did want to save the Earth. So he's kind of a good guy. He's just doing it in a really fucked up way. Mm-hmm. He doesn't. He's maybe a sociopath in terms of his view on expendable humanity. Like, he killed 3 million people in New York.
He's like Thanos.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very Thanos kind of thing. Oh my God, some of those things, the clips, was it Ted Cruz or Ben Shapiro? Someone who was like, you look at these supervillains and they're all like leftist eco-terrorists. Like, Thanos was a socialist. And it's like, fuck you, motherfucker. Anyway, even though I've said Thanos had some points, but he wasn't doing it the right way. Anyway, he was sort of a good guy. That's my point. But anyway, would you take his sperm?
Okay, so being the person that he is, probably, yeah.
Plus, you're an average Joe. You probably don't even know that he's an arrogant dick.
Right. Maybe. I might.
your first couple
it's
kids. It's
certified drug, I guess drug-free too, but certified, like, okay sperm. It's got a stamp of approval on it.
He's saying it is, and he's the smartest man on earth.
No STDs in there?
Probably not. He's a virgin.
Okay. Would you?
Put it in my butt?
Yeah.
I'll make a butt baby with you, Adrian. Yeah, probably. I'd give it a shot. It'd be cool to have a superhuman child.
A superhuman, like a super smart child, probably... super annoying.
It'd be different. Yeah, like there would be points of difficulty. It'd be like a more intense version of Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, right?
Right.
Growing up in rural Texas with parents that are just like, you're building a nuclear what now? But
Sheldon is his son.
Maybe he could use some of that physical prowess.
Yeah, he does have a nice worked out body for his age.
Oh, well, okay.
I mean, he's got like muscles.
Sheldon?
No.
Oh, Vite. Okay.
Vite.
Yeah, he kept himself up. Mm-hmm. Okay, so continuing then. So he says he's a virgin. And she says, yeah, but I'm sample 2346.
Oh.
And he's like, oh, well, that's where that hand lotion went. So she explains the whole thing. Beyond was a Vietnamese refugee working in your place, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So he says, well, I think he actually didn't come from nothing. He said, like, my parents were rich, and when I set out, I said, I don't want anything you've got, old man. I'm going to make my own way, and I built a fortune from that, so I offer you the same thing. You get nothing. It's Willy Wonka. You get nothing. Right? Did he do that in the movie? And also, I will never call you my daughter.
Yeah, you jerk. What's wrong with him?
That's a good way to fuck up a kid, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe she had good intentions at that point, and then when he was a dick to her, she's like, fuck you, I'm just going to take over the world, you bastard. I wonder.
Maybe.
Okay, so we get all that information dumped on us, and we go back to Europa, where Adrian is in a jail cell with a cake and a horseshoe. And then a spaceship is landing now. So what, again, oh God. So we know the probe, I should go back to my timeline. 'Cause this is, okay, so I'm still a little bit angry at the timeline because of this. So
she's got super special powers that she put into the probe and made it get there super duper fast. She's the smartest woman on earth. She already knows how to make light speed go like that.
Well, the probe was going to take like 5 years to get there, and he knew that when he was out in Europa, so then he got his picture taken. Fine. But then for the pictures to go back to Earth, let's pretend like that was a quick thing, even though it's totally not. But the pictures get back to Earth, and then she has to build a rocket ship and send it out there, pick him up, and then bring him back. That's where my problems are, because it just doesn't seem like there'd be enough time for the ship to go back to Europa and bring him back to Earth and still fit within the timeline of the show. But it's a TV show. So.
She's got superpowers.
All right. Okay. So, all right. So the spaceship is landing. He used the horseshoe to dig himself a tunnel. He's getting ready to go. The game warden, Dread Pirate Roberts, tries to stop him from getting to the ship. They have a fight. Yada yada. Adrian catches a bullet when the guy tries to shoot him. We get that trick back because he did that in the comic book too. And then he beats the shit out of the game warden, stabs him. No more game warden. They have a moment together.
Yeah.
Oh, I wrote. Why he asks, "Why did you make me wear a mask?" And Adrian says, "Because masks make men cruel."
Mm.
And then the dude's just like, "Did I do a good job or something?" And Adrian's like, "Nah."
Yeah, he's so mean.
He's a dick. But he wants to save the world. It's such a
weird
conundrum. Well, he's not like Earth billionaires, like real world billionaires. Like all those motherfuckers just want to make more billions of dollars. And there's even proof that like Bill Gates, like he's out there like doing all these things for immunizations in Africa and stuff, but yet the stuff he's doing and his investments in pharmaceutical companies, he's making more billions of dollars while he's doing all this. So it's not really philanthropy. Our billionaires are just,
well, he's got to keep making the billions to give to more people.
I don't think he has to. And Jeff Bezos is just a dickhead.
Well, he looks like one.
Yeah. Okay. So, blah, blah, blah. The ship takes off. We find out what happened that night he went out there to make the message in bodies. We saw "help me" written in bodies before, but this time around we got a wide shot of that same scene. Do you remember what it said?
Save me, daughter.
Help me, daughter. Right. So it just seems like the ultimate scam, right? Like, was he really feeling sentimental for his daughter, or was he just using her?
I don't know.
I feel like he was just saying daughter because he knew that would help.
Well, he knew she was the only one that had the ability.
Right? Maybe he does respect that a little bit, but I still think he was just manipulating her. But then she manipulates him right back. She's like, get in this chamber. There's a sign or a message, a recorded message. Get in this chamber and hold your arms a certain way, and we'll give you food and water on your way back to Earth. And then he gets sprayed with gold. And
yeah, Han Solo'd.
Yeah, yes. He gets Han Solo and Carbonited. Mm-hmm. Almost the exact same thing, which one of us predicted that
Right. But
that he was actually that statue that we saw. And it turns out he was.
mm-hmm.
So good on whichever one of us said that. I don't remember. I'll just say it was you.
It was me, but doesn't he come back to life?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is how he gets back to Earth as a gold statue. Cool. So that was a few years in the making. And then finally the show takes us to now. The present, so 2019. September 2019. And we have the gold statue, which we've seen in the show just days earlier, but now they're going to defrost the statue. So we have True and Beyond. They start defrosting him. They have a little talk about like, hey, he might say some crazy shit. And she goes, I know, I'm actually your mother.
Mm-hmm.
I know you cloned me, because she figured that out while talking to Angela.
Or maybe she is starting to get her memories.
Maybe. Well, they're doing that treatment with the nostalgia, right? So he's defrosted. She says it meant a lot to be acknowledged as your daughter. And he says, hey, Dr. Manhattan's passing as a human on Earth. And she says, I know that, dummy. And she's ready to absorb his power in about an hour. She's got this all planned.
She sure does.
The Millennium Clock is now activated.
Mm-hmm.
She says, time to go kill a god. And then a fleet of True vehicles rolls on into Tulsa. And they're all white. She has a fleet of white or silver.
Everything she has wears, it's just white.
Let's see. They get to the newsstand. She picks up her newspapers because she needs those. I don't know if this is important, but the guy at the newsstand sees Adrian and says, you look like Adrian Veidt. And Adrian's kind of curious, like what happened to him, the official story. And the official story was that he walked into a jungle 10 years ago and never came out.
Right.
I wonder who made that up. Okay, but then this glowing orb floats into position in the town, over the town square of Tulsa. We don't know what's going to happen with that. But Adrian thinks the end is nigh. He has a bad feeling about this, it would seem. Mm-hmm. So to contrast with the silver or white fleet of Lady True, the cavalry rides in on a black fleet to their mini-mall. And some super old Klan dude in a wheelchair arrives. Turns out that's Senator Keene Sr. Lori is still tied up inside. I hope they're giving her bathroom breaks or something.
Yeah, it's been a while.
They've got quite just a Klan racist fucking gathering going on. Mm-hmm. It's like they've got cocktails, they're wearing tuxedos and shit. Mrs. Crawford's there, Judd's wife.
This is just like what was it? Aliens versus what was it? Everybody's head explodes.
Mars Attacks.
Okay. That's the second time I've referenced that movie in like 2 weeks.
Yes, you referenced that when Dr. Manhattan was blowing up heads in the last episode.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so one guy gets a call on the walkie-talkie about Angela shooting a bunch of dudes. And that causes enough chaos for Looking Glass hiding under a Rorschach mask to let Lori know that he's there. Mm-hmm. And he says that he'll get them out of there ASAP. But
are they going to become lovers?
No. I'm going to say no. I don't think Wade likes her that way.
Okay.
I don't think she likes him that way. But Wade doesn't know what's going on with the cage, and then Blue Cal teleports in. So even though Angela started shooting everyone, they still got their shot off. Still makes me angry, that whole part of him just standing there in front of the teleporter gun.
He has to let everything happen because it's the way it is. That's
right, but it doesn't.
That's the way it's supposed to happen. I don't know.
The best thing I could think of is that maybe he wanted to die.
Could
maybe
be.
He was
maybe
just ready.
Tired.
Yeah, maybe he's just had enough of this boring universe. Time to see what's next. Maybe he knows what's next. Maybe he figured out what happens if he dies, and he was like, "That's all right. I could do that." All right, let's go with that. He wanted to die. That makes me feel better.
Also the fact that somebody figured out how to do it makes it actually, like, he has to die because anybody could try to weaponize him after that.
Well, yes, that's true. And if his plan works out, then, you know, the cavalry's not going to get his powers. Like, maybe he knows that too, but he can't talk about it because then paradoxes. Like, he's really concerned about paradoxes now.
Yeah.
So he got teleported away, and now he's in a cage. Meanwhile, at her house, Angela's breaking fingers to try to get information about where Cal went. That guy. I mean, he deserved it, but part of me still feels bad for him.
Oy.
That's not... And they did a good job, too, making his fingers look all dangly after she breaks them. Okay. So Senator Keene starts giving a little speech about how awesome he is and starts taking his clothes off while Angela is shooting her way into the place. We find out that we got that flashback of the reason Angela survived the White Knight is because Cal innately used his powers. And that guy, we thought he killed the Rorschach guy, but he didn't. It turns out he teleported that guy. And that's all they needed to know was that if someone in Angela's house could teleport this guy like 1,000 miles away, then we got to start thinking of a plan, I guess. Because only one guy could do that, and that's Dr. Manhattan. So at that point, after the White Knight, Judd and Jane Crawford formulated a plan to get close to the A-Bars. So that whole thing in the hospital where Angela was recovering and Judd came to visit her and they bonded and held hands, all that shit was the start of the plan.
Oh my God.
Their friendship was never real.
What?
Fucking Kevin Costner, man. Just can't trust that guy. And then let's just take a moment.
Kevin Costner?
Wasn't that Judd?
No.
Who was it?
Oh my God, it was Don Johnson.
Don Johnson. Oh God, I got those guys confused. I was actually picturing Kevin Costner in my head, but you're
That's
right.
weird.
Aren't they pretty much the same guy?
No.
Does that offend you?
Yes. Should have been Kevin Costner and Don Johnson.
Which one did Dances with Wolves? That was Kevin Costner.
That was Kevin Costner.
Did Don Johnson do anything big after Miami Vice?
I'm sure he did one thing.
I think he put out like a single once. I think he tried singing. All right, but I don't want to talk about him. I'm sorry for making that mistake. I want to talk about Senator Keene's underwear.
Oh my God.
Should I get underwear like that?
It does not look comfortable.
No?
No.
All right. It reminded me of something, and I had to bring up a picture of this later to show you. I want you all, if this reference doesn't mean anything to you, just go onto Google and type Sting, as in the lead singer of The Police, and then the word Dune, as in the Frank Herbert novel that was a really bad movie in the 80s. Sting was in that movie. And if you type Sting Dune, one of the first image matches that will come up is him fairly ripped, nice abs at least, in his underwear. And I swear to God, it is the same underwear. Now, I know that it's also the underwear that Dr. Manhattan wore in the comic books.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
I don't know why Keene would think like, oh, well, getting the powers of Dr. Manhattan means I have to wear the same underwear.
He wants to be just like him.
Except a Nazi. Just like the original, but more of a Nazi.
It's the official most powerful human in the world, Earth, galaxy, universe, underwear.
Wait a second. I just had a thought. Keene gets the powers, right? And all of a sudden he sees and experiences things in a totally different way. He can look at someone and just see their molecular makeup, right? Would being all like super smart, or like almost omniscient and all powerful, knowing facts, wouldn't that stop you from being a Nazi? Because, like, all of racism is just based on really stupid, false ideas about the differences between races. When we know, scientifically speaking, we're all the same with just, like, little differences in, like, how, you know, I don't know.
Variance.
Yeah, like, what your hair is like, or, you know, Just little stupid shit, but we're
Right.
all the same. So if he had Dr. Manhattan powers, that might have ended racism.
Unless he's pure evil.
Well, right, but
Then he'd
but if
be
Manhattan,
happy about it.
but Manhattan was a good guy, but he quickly saw that there is no good or evil. There's just like science, and that's why he lost interest in humanity in general.
He could have taught somebody something. I mean,
Like, I think if Keene became Dr. Manhattan, there would be a really rough, like, couple months. But then the most super Nazi that ever was would get bored and be like, all this shit that we were doing is stupid. And then that might end racism forever.
I don't think they thought that deep.
All right. Well, they should have hired me. Or not. I would have made it too convoluted, probably.
Every idea would get shot down because you'd be like, well, no, because then racism would end.
It's too complicated. We only have 9 episodes. All right. We also find out that the cage is made of synthetic lithium from watch batteries, and somehow that contains Dr. Manhattan's power. I don't know. Weird shit. But it refers back to that first episode with the watch batteries. Mm-hmm. So, yay. Lori makes fun of the panties. That was funny. And then Angela tromps in. She's here to stop all this stupid shit. She's got a gun. And informs Keene that Lady True has been planning longer than you, and she's going to stop you, so you should just stop now before it's too late, because something bad's going to happen. She's not even trying to stop Keene for the sake of stopping Keene. She's saying True's going to do something even worse. So
Right.
Knock it off. Right. So, but Keene says, fuck you. I know what I'm doing. And he enters this special chamber he made to harvest the energy, pushes a button, and then there's a big blue energy explosion around everybody. And Cal is still there in the cage, looking relatively unharmed, but now the floating orb is above them, and all the guns get magneted away from all the bad guys. And then it turns out we're like in the middle of Tulsa, where we last saw True and the orb and stuff. So she teleported the entire party of Nazis. Yeah.
Confusing.
A little bit. But I guess when the cavalry guys started buying like True brand batteries to power their evil devices, like she was in on that and was like, I'm putting special stuff in there that's going to teleport you when I say so. And I don't know. How's that? Whatever. Okay. So Lady True says she's here to give Will, Grandpa, justice. That was her promise to him. I think like he said he would help her enact this plan, but in return he gets justice against all these Nazis. Okay. Lori and Adrian meet. They know each other from the past, so that was cute. All right, so where's Senator Keene? Let's get him out of his special magic chamber. And it turns out he is now about, I'm going to say 100 gallons of goop. That was a fun surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got all over Lori's shoes.
Ugh.
But it also starts gooping its way into the cage. And that seems significant.
Isn't that what happened to Mr. Phillips in the play?
Did he get, no, he got immolated. He was
burned.
He was lit
burned.
on fire. Yeah. Okay, so Beyond brings over a note and it says, you represent the senior leadership of the Cyclops, blah, blah, blah. Mrs. Crawford is not impressed. She says, just kill us if you're gonna. So Lady True laser explodes them. There's like purple lasers flashing everywhere. All the Nazis are dead now. Yay. So True did something good.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. So that was cool. Meanwhile, Cal and his big blue dong, which you got to see a couple times.
I did see it a couple times.
Should we just pause for a moment?
He
while
didn't
you
have
think
any
about
pubic
it?
hair.
You didn't have any hair anywhere.
True.
Hair is meant to keep us warm. So if you are never cold because you're made of radioactive energy, maybe your body just doesn't grow hair anymore. I could deal with that.
Okay.
Anyway.
I don't know if it was real or not, but it was nice.
The dong?
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy for you.
Thanks.
got so much of my stuff during Game of Thrones. You deserve a little dong once in a while. Wait.
What?
It's probably not the right way to say that. Anyway, Captain Dongulus touches the goop. A blue wave goes through it, and all of a sudden, Looking Glass, Ozymandias, and Lori get teleported to Karnak, Ozymandias' base. True is very unhappy that they have disappeared, but what are you going to do? She starts her process. She's got work to do. So Angela wants to know why she didn't get sent away, and he says, because I don't want to be alone when I die. So does he have feelings? You were just saying it's all bullshit. He doesn't love, he doesn't care about anything, but then he said that.
No, he's lying.
Wow, you went from soft to hard. Wait.
Oh my God. He's lying just because he needs to put his powers in her.
Well, that's going to happen in an unrelated way. All right. Anyway.
He's lying. He knows what's going to happen.
Okay.
Because he can be in the future.
So he starts getting blasted by super space orb energy.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And meanwhile, over in Karnak, Adrian starts talking about how there was a squid fall in Tulsa 3 weeks ago, and he starts making a plan. He pushes a button, and some stuff starts happening. So Cal tells Angela that she has to go now. And she says, no, I'm staying here. Where are you? And he says he's in every moment that they were together all at once. Mm-hmm. And you're soft again. Okay. You are conflicted about this guy.
Well, it's sweet, but he's lying. No, I mean, he does not have feelings. He can't.
Okay. And then all the blue gets sucked out of him. He becomes a normal black dude for a second.
He did.
And then he explodes.
Right.
So that happened. Adrian will show her a rerun, he says, yelling at the universe about Lady True. So he said he designed the squids to dissolve shortly after impact, but what if they were frozen? So they turned down the temperature of the squid tanks. He has a window of opportunity to stop her while the energy in the blue orb is still filtering. It was that lack of a filtering process that turned Keen into all that goop. So it's like a Brita filter, if you have really gross water. So the filter is going on right now in that orb. And there was a message there. Anyone that wants to be a god needs to be stopped at all costs. And that's probably a good message. That explains most of politics.
Yes.
Most people that want to be president can't be trusted.
Right.
Right. And also, I would say a certain amount of foreshadowing there. Because if someone doesn't want to be a god, but you kind of just slip them a Mickey, maybe they'll be a good god.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
Although, Dr. Manhattan didn't want to be a god. Although he wasn't bad. He didn't hurt many people, except a lot of communists in Vietnam. We don't have time for that. Okay. So he starts the squid fall. He says 5 square blocks are going to be obliterated by frozen squids. I don't know if that really lives up to what he said, but there's going to be a lot of damage. Beyond wakes up from the various explosions and things and tells Angela tells her to get her friends out of there or they will get hurt. And I think that's about what True's going to do, not about, she doesn't know about the squid fall. But then the Mars phone rings in the phone booth.
Right. That just happened to
where
be
they're
right
hiding.
there.
Yeah, they just happen to be hiding in the phone booth. And it's Lori telling Beyond that they need to take cover because bad shit's coming. So Lady True's standing in the middle of the cage and she's about to start getting zapped with god energy. And then a squid goes through her hand and she looks all confused.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool.
Got a big hole in her hand. That's always a neat effect.
Mm-hmm.
Angela makes a run for it while the orb is getting demolished by freezing squids. You'd think a super filter orb would be strong enough to repel frozen squid. But what do I know?
Yeah.
So Angela gets to the theater, which we heard about last episode when Cal said, the kids are at a theater with your dad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, sure enough, the kids are resting comfortably on the set of Oklahoma, because we have to bring all that full circle.
Lights are bright, like, in their faces as they're sleeping.
Hey, kids can take it.
No,
When kids are sleepy, kids go to sleep. So Will explains he was in on the plan that involves Cal dying, and he kind of feels bad about that, but he says, is True gone too? Because he isn't so sorry about that. So I think it seems like Will knew that he had to go make a deal with True because that was part of Cal's plan to stop both True and Keen. Which still goes back to you shouldn't have let any of that happen. And I'm just going to hold on to my maybe he wanted to die idea.
Okay.
That's all I've got. Right. So, yeah, making a deal with her was Cal's idea, blah, blah, blah. When, and they have a quick talk about masks. He said, you felt what it was like to be me when I was under the hood. I just felt fear and hurt, and I guess he took it out on everybody else around him. He says, you can't heal under a mask, Angela. Wounds need air. There. He said it.
Wounds do need air.
Mm-hmm. And he also tells her that Dr. Manhattan Cal told him to tell her you can't make an omelet without breaking a couple of eggs. And she says, what the fuck does that mean? Whereas I think all of us were like, I know exactly what that means.
She's had a long day.
Yeah, that's true. She'll understand when the time is right. And she says, Will, you can stay with me, or Granddad, I don't know. You can stay with me for a couple days. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So they're making nice. Over in the Arctic, Adrian offers Lori and Looking Glass Archie, which is Night Owl's old ship.
Yes.
Which, I don't know. I don't know when he got it, but whatever. He's been keeping it. Night Owl. I wonder whatever happened to Night Owl. Did he die? Did we talk about that? I don't know. I mean, Lori's fine. She and Night Owl kind of hooked up a little bit, so they were probably about the same age. And it's mentioned that the police used Night Owl's designs for their own airships, which we talked about back in that same episode with the watch batteries.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Lori says, Adrian, you're under arrest. And he says, what the fuck, you asshole? I just saved the Earth. And
again.
And Wade's like, well, you killed 3 million people. And I have it on disc. And so it's a confession. And he's just being an arrogant dick. So Wade hits him in the head with a wrench.
Ouch. That can kill him.
Yeah, he's probably dead. If this wasn't a TV show, he's either dead or he's going to be probably brain damage. Like at least a really bad concussion.
At least.
Which will probably do some brain damage. Traumatic head injury. Not to be joked about.
Right.
I guess I would say.
I mean, it's all, it's comics.
All right. So meanwhile, Angela and the kids walk out of the theater. Will's trailing far behind because he's old and slow. But Beyond is being arrested. She appears to be in shock more than anything. She seems to be okay. But definitely she's had a long night too. Angela takes the family to her bakery lair where the oldest kid, whatever his name is, sees her Sister Night costume, and they have like a moment of looking at each other like, what? You're Sister Night? Oh my God. How could
You're so cool.
Yeah, this is amazing. She gets the kids to bed and goes back to the kitchen of broken eggs.
Starts cleaning them up.
She puts the ring that she pulled out of his brain into her pocket just in case she needs that again someday. She starts cleaning up the eggs and one egg in the carton. Perfect.
Yep.
So she thinks about this, goes into the backyard, cracks the egg, and gulps it down.
Nope.
It'd be
Just
funny
like that.
if she just like threw it up immediately.
Oh, I would.
And then
you'd be like having to suck it up with a straw.
out of the pool. Tastes like chlorine now, then you throw up again. Her foot touches the water of the pool, and it's over.
Yep.
Cut to black. One of those endings.
She fell in.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're leaving us to try to figure it out, right?
Not really, though. I mean, there were too many. They set it up so much that it's supposed to be implied, I think.
Yeah, I agree. But because of that, that actually sort of bugs me more that they didn't show us anything.
Right.
Like, because the implication of an ending like that, sort of like the ending of, what was that show? The Mafia.
The show The Mafia?
The Sopranos.
Oh.
The ending of The Sopranos did that, where they cut to black all of a sudden in the middle of a scene, and there were reasons to think that maybe the cutting to black was Tony Soprano being assassinated, but then also maybe not. Maybe it's okay. Like, they left this whole thing open to interpretation by the audience to just speculate forever because it was the series finale. There was not going to be any more show. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And in this case, you're right. I mean, they telegraphed so much. Like, it was a perfect egg. And
Will had just
the
said...
omelet reference, yeah. Like, there's no way. And they went through all the trouble in episode 8 of the egg, first of all. And then I guess I could synthesize something where if you ingested it, you would get my powers. All of that shit.
And he drank the beer with the egg in it.
Also weird, but he probably has no gag reflex.
I've had raw egg before, and yeah.
In what?
I don't know that I had anything. I just felt like there was a time in my life
you
when
were inspired by Rocky.
Right. It was a thing for a while. Like raw eggs, you're supposed to...
Made you tough.
Right.
Strong. Put hair on your chest.
I don't think I did it more than a couple times.
Gross.
It was.
I bet. So, yeah, I just feel like they could have showed us. Like, what's the harm? Or, alternatively, I would be okay with a weird cliffhanger like that if there was going to be a season 2.
Right.
Which I desperately want.
But, I'm kind of glad there's not.
So, even though it seems obvious that she got Dr. Manhattan's powers, there was still a lot of hubbub about this when the show aired. And there was, what's the name of the guy? The lost guy, Lindelof, Damon Lindelof. So I Googled around just a little bit, and I did see one interview with him where he was asked that question. So what's the deal? Does Angela get the powers or not? And he says, well, I could go into a whole long blah, blah, blah about that, blah, 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 but I'm a douche. So I'm just going to say this. If you look at the poster for the Watchmen, it tells you everything you need to know. So then, of course, you have to go look up the poster for The Watchmen, which we've all seen. Like, I mean, I think it's right there on HBO Max. We're like, here's the show you want to watch. And it's a picture of Angela in her sister.
Standing in a puddle of water?
No, I think it's like waist up mostly.
Okay.
But it's her standing there with the Watchmen, logo and stuff above her. But she is in a sheen of blue glow.
Okay. So she got it.
Yeah, so she got it. I think that's his way of saying, yes, she got the powers. But in a really douchey way. I still want a season 2. I want to see her doing shit with those powers. She was a cool character.
She was.
But
she was on Saturday Night Live just a couple nights ago.
Oh, yeah, she was.
Oh, my gosh. And her boob was like almost out.
Yep.
Almost. If she actually had bigger boobs, they would have been out.
Well, she was definitely taped into that dress, right?
Yeah, but not taped quite enough.
The dress was puckering as she moved around, and yeah, her boob almost came fully out of that dress. But besides the boobs, she was just a cool character. I liked her.
I did too.
So,
was she in Colors?
Colors? What is Colors?
It's with Janet Jackson.
Oh my God. How old?
I don't know, probably like 1987, 88. I don't know.
I'm going to say probably not.
I don't know, maybe it was later. What was she in before, though? She was in I
don't know if she's been in anything that we've specifically seen. She's gotten a lot of acclaim.
I feel like
recently.
she was in a show.
Well, you know what? I'll just look her up real quick then, if that'll make you feel better. Let's see, Regina King. So she was born in 1971. I guess she could have been acting with Janet Jackson, but what? She was in 6 episodes of The Big Bang Theory. Holy shit! Was she the HR lady in the university?
Yes,
I think she was. Oh God, I had no idea. I don't know, American Crime. You haven't watched that. The Leftovers. You haven't watched that. She was a voice in Pixar's Planes, Fire, and Rescue. Follow up to Cars. I'm not seeing anything.
I know I've
Southland. Did you watch Southland?
No, I know I've seen her in like a movie or something before.
All right. Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. So there we go.
Yep. The show's over. I guess that's it.
That's it.
Because it really, really doesn't look like there's going to be a season 2.
Got to move on to a new show.
Thanks for taking that journey with us, everybody. What?
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
New Showtime.
Oh.
Or old Showtime.
Or old Showtime. I mean, we've got something planned.
Jay Sarge last night was saying we should watch a show called... Were you there for that?
No. You guys were playing Fallout 76. But I was busy doing college stuff for my daughter.
Billy?
What? Billy Elliot?
No.
What?
It's a guy's name. Oh my God. It's got Bill Hader.
Oh, yeah. Ted Lasso.
Oh, I don't know about that. I thought it was just a first name. But anyway.
Oh, wait. Is it about the assassin? I was thinking of something else. That's not Bill Hader. Ted Lasso is another Saturday Night Live guy. Yes, that assassin show is good. I think it's over. I can't remember what it's called right now. But yeah. Yeah, Bill Hader plays a sort of a reluctant, bumbling assassin. I think we watched the first episode of that one.
I don't remember.
We could go back and check it out. But we have a list somewhere too. We got to go refer to the list. But there are no shows that we typically talk about that are coming back anytime too soon. We could finally look at his Dark Materials. I do want to talk about The Handmaid's Tale at some point. That's coming back in 2021. So before that comes back, we're going to have to do a few episodes about the first few seasons.
Yes. When is it coming?
No date yet.
Okay.
Probably mid to late 2021. They've been filming, and I guess maybe the silver lining of that is that the handmaids wear a lot of masks. So that's cool.
True.
Handy.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they're doing that thing with the...
Right, I know. Sewing their mouths shut and putting a mask over their face so they don't have to see the disgusting mouth sewn shut.
Yeah. So we got stuff. We got stuff in the hopper.
Oof.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So stay tuned.
Yep.
Tell a friend. That would be cool. You know. And if there are shows you want us to watch, there was one. We got a suggestion for the show called Resident Alien, I think it's called. Have you heard of it? It's
nope.
It's a new comedy, like a sci-fi comedy on I think the Sci-Fi Network, but it's not on any of the streamers yet, so we'll have to find a way to watch it if we want to check it out. But it's God damn it. What's his face? Wash from Firefly.
Oh.
Playing an alien who's come to Earth and is making his living as a doctor.
Is it funny?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can check that out. Walking Dead's coming back soon. But if you have any suggestions on stuff we should talk about, drop us a line. You can find us on Twitter. I am at Pot of Thrones.
I am at Kid Free Weekend.
Or we also have email, jeff@potofthrones.com.
Or Jennifer at potofthrones.com.
You got it. So reach out, tell us what you think, and we got our own stuff in the hopper too, but we love to hear from you. So
you're just dragging this on and on.
All right, I just hate saying goodbye to the Watchmen.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Watchmen. Goodbye, Blue Dong. There's never going to be another show with a Blue Dong.
No.